Folks, this election cycle has been very strange, to say the least. I mean, the China virus aside, this program has been, I don't want to say at the epicenter. That's the wrong word I'm looking for. I have experienced things in this political cycle that I've never experienced before. For example, in District 12, Congressional District 12, this show has been asked to discuss issues with by the Democrat running in that race, and now we're going to be talking with the Libertarian in that race. The Republican, the alleged conservative party, has not reached out to this program once to come on and discuss issues with us. It's like I said, it is strange. This election cycle. Trey Holcomb is a teacher. He's a self-described old football and baseball coach. Says he's ashamed of his representation in Congress. He is running on the Libertarian ticket for the 12th Congressional District here in North Texas. Trey, welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show.
Thanks, Chris. It's good to be here.
Did we catch you in class? Is that where you are?
Yeah, but I actually teach AP U.S. Government and Politics, and so my students are right here in front of me, some of them, and some of them virtually, and they're listening in right now. So they're going to.
Oh, they can hear me.
A little bit of an education. Yes,
they
sir.
can hear me. Kids, hi, kids. How you doing?
Some of them can't hear you, but the ones that are tuned in on the radio can hear you.
Understood. Well, to all the kids who can, hey, kids, glad you can hear us. Okay, let's talk about
the radio on in my classroom. I'm sure we'd have an echo. So.
Yeah, I mean, boy, you've been treated to a treat this morning, haven't you? Look, what most disappoints you about government, because part of your pitch is you're disappointed with your representation in Congress. What is your biggest disappointment with government right now?
Well, with government in general, it's just the misappropriation of our money. I mean, we pay so much of our livelihood, so much of the fruit of our labor is taken from us in taxes, and then what do we get? You know, what's the return? I mean, that's my biggest disappointment, and I think in District 12, the most blatant part of that is the whole Panther Island debacle. I mean, good.
I'm going to get to that in due course. Okay. But I just wanted to narrow in on what you found to be the biggest disappointment. I think, hey, money management. Any conservative would agree with you as a libertarian that this government is way too big and spends way too much of our money, and there's no prayer those 535 individuals can keep track of our money. The term automatic spending is offensive to me and should be offensive to every American.
Absolutely. And I mean, good grief, I don't know what I think the average tax rate is in the 20% level, but still, I mean, if you're having 20% of the fruit of your labor take, I mean, that's over a month of each year you're working for free, and there ought to be some kind of return for that if it's even going to happen. And then you look at, the failures of our government to provide, anything that's substantial with regards to that kind of money being taken out of people's pockets without their consent. And that's a big deal to me, too, is the fact that, we've got at this point, and this is another big, big disappointment for me, we're $27 trillion in debt. And at this point, when you're $27 trillion in debt, you're not spending money, you're borrowing it every time.
Mm-hmm. No, that's very true. And by the way, all of those kids sitting in your classroom right now, when Nancy Pelosi is long gone, those kids will be paying back the debt she has racked up, that Obama racked up. And to be fair, President Donald Trump has not paid attention at all to the national debt.
Absolutely.
Let me get another question. Let me get another question in here.
Yeah, sure.
Where have the Democrats failed most?
Well, the reason that I'm a libertarian is because, and I've told people this before, I felt like the Democrats, and I'm a man of faith too, Chris. I mean, that's the most important thing in my life. And the Democrats have, for a long time have been hostile to my faith, I felt like. And lately it just seems like the Republicans made an obscene mockery of it.
Well, I'll get to the Republicans in a minute, but I just want you to focus in on the Democrats.
The main thing is they have always been the big government party. In my lifetime anyway, they've been the big government party. And I feel like, since FDR, we've been under this system of Keynesian socialism where we just borrow and spend and borrow and spend and borrow and spend and rack up the debt. And it's kind of like a house where your house is filled up with sewage because the sewer's backing up, and instead of letting some of it out, you just build the walls higher and let it fill up some more. And that seems to be the approach
So
with the Democrats. And
if I can summarize,
a good game, but
if I can summarize, you are disappointed with the Democrats' hostility toward people of faith.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, that shouldn't be.
Trey Holcomb is our guest right now, folks. He is running on the Libertarian ticket, 12th congressional district here in North Texas. Now, where has the GOP failed most?
Well, they've also adopted these ideas of Keynesian socialism, where you tax and spend. I mean, for a long time I was a big Ronald Reagan fan, but then when you look at things, I mean, gosh, he spent as much money as a lot of Democrats did, and it's just, to me, our nation ought to be able to live within its own means. If we expect people to do that, then as a nation we need to do the same thing.
Now, you brought up Kay Granger, who is the Republican running for that office. You mentioned the Panther Island Project, which has been regarded with utter disdain on this program, and the boondoggle that appears to be with our taxpayer dollars. What is the most egregious violation of the public trust do you think that the Panther Island Project represents?
Well, it's just the deception. I mean, gosh, around 2000, I remember going to I think it was the Main Street Arts Festival or Mayfest. It was a big festival type situation in Fort Worth around 2000. I didn't even live in Fort Worth at the time. My wife and I visited, and they had a big tent set up with this trendy river vision. And it was going to be like the San Antonio River Walk, and they were going to have a city lake, and they were going to dig some canals. And it looked great on the surface, but now here we are. I think we've had $500 million that we've received in federal funding, and it's been spent. And what do we have? We've got
not even that. And as a matter of fact, some of the funding that was promised isn't coming. We just found out.
Yeah,
Look, I've only got about 45 seconds, and I got two more questions I want to get to you. As a libertarian, are you concerned? Because as you know, ideologically speaking, the libertarians and the conservatives share a lot of values. Are you concerned that you're going to take away votes from Kay Granger and deliver the 12th to the Democrats?
No, I want to take votes away from Kay Granger and Lisa Welch. I mean, my thing is this: each voter, their vote belongs to them until they decide to give it to somebody else. So I can't take votes away from anybody but the voters. They decide who they vote for. Mm-hmm. If they decide they want to vote for Kay Granger and more Panther Island boondoggles, then they can do that. If they decide they want to vote for Lisa Welch and flip the thing red, I think that's a bad idea too. Or flip it blue, I think that's a bad idea too. I mean, I'm just here to give people another option, something that's different than what they've had. And
30 seconds for me. Where are you on President Trump?
I'm not a Trump supporter. I support Joe Jorgensen, the nominee of my party. I feel like the complaints I have about Donald Trump are the same complaints I have about Obama. I mean, it's his failures on to protect gun rights. And really taking us in the opposite direction with the ban on accessories, and then the latest we've got the ATF now is banning there's a new weapon they've just issued a ban for. I think it's called the honey badger. Mm-hmm. But we're instead of banning weapons, we ought to be allowing people to use whatever they can afford to defend themselves. As long as we've got laws against gun violence already. Yeah. And I think people should be free to make their own decisions.
Trey Holcomb, thank you very much. I'm just a plumb out of time. I hope it was educational for the kids. Sure. Hope it sparks a good discussion, and good luck to you in the upcoming election. He's running in the 12th congressional district race, folks, as a libertarian against Miss Welch and Miss Granger. Thank you very much for the time, Trey, here on the Chris Salcedo Show.